This is a live look at Vicksburg from high in the sky with Chopper 12. The mighty Mississippi River has crested here, but when will the water start going down? And what about damage to the levees? Good evening and welcome. My co-anchor Byron Brown will join us live from Vicksburg Ahead, where there's a sigh of relief tonight, but also a sense of some work still to do. Right now, the river level is at 57.1 feet. That is the high point. It's actually about 4 inches lower, though, than initially forecasted. We're told it will be at least 5 days before the water level will start dropping. In Vicksburg, authorities are reporting what appears to be the first flood-related fatality. Police found a 69-year-old man in the water clinging to a fence. We'll talk with a friend who's dealing now with that loss. And we're also looking at the impact for farmers. A large portion of the Delta is underwater tonight. We'll get the latest on what the government plans to do to help them. And our phone lines are now open as volunteers with Caring for Mississippi take your questions about flooding. You can call us at 969-4612. That's 969-GO-12. We begin tonight in Vicksburg, where the mighty Mississippi sets a new all-time high record. Vicksburg is the state's largest city on the river. The river is now 15 feet above flood stage. My co-anchor, Byron Brown, is in Vicksburg tonight, joining us live from the Welcome Center with more on today's crest there and the fatality that's being reported now related to the flooding. Byron?
Well, that's right, Linda. There's a lot of questions that remain here now that we've reached the peak here in Vicksburg. A lot of people have a lot of concerns, a lot of questions. And on Tuesday, the 24th, the city of Vicksburg will have an informational meeting here in the city beginning at 6 o'clock and lasting until 7:30 by the mayor's office. They are going to be answering concerns from citizens, anything dealing with the flood, the questions. People, a lot of questions they have is when they can go back to their home, the things that they may need. Those are a lot of questions that the mayor will be answering for folks on Tuesday. That meeting will be held at 6 o'clock to 7:30 at the Vicksburg City Auditorium. You know, the Army Corps had a meeting this afternoon, and they talked a lot about the waters here and when they may recede, and they say it will take days before the water starts receding, and it could be months before people will be able to get back into their homes. And they're telling folks that it's really not safe for folks to get back in their homes or to go near the waters right now. You mentioned about the first possible death related to the flood, a man that was pulled from the water here in downtown Vicksburg the other day. News Channel 12's Brad Soroka has more on that story. He begins our mighty Mississippi flood coverage.
We saw him every day, and there's an attachment. Yeah, he'll be missed.
David Day tells us that Walter Cook was like family. David owns the Klondike Trading Post here in North Vicksburg, and he saw Walter every day for the last 6 years.
He grew up in Vicksburg, grew up right the hill here, spent his whole life in that house, and came down here every day.
Tuesday morning, he came to the Trading Post to buy a cigarette lighter. According to the owner, when Walter Cook left the store, instead of heading towards home, he walked the other way towards deeper water.
When we were telling him to come back, and Walt is his own man. He's going to do what he wants to do.
And he did. Walter Cook kept walking, and at 9:30 a.m., Vicksburg police got a call that a man had collapsed in the water.
And there was a couple of firemen and another city employee that was already in the waters near that location, and they immediately went to his location and rescued him from the waters.
According to Chief Armstrong, they got to him less than a minute after he collapsed. He was still alive.
They actually had conversation. He did not die on the scene. Again, he was transported to the hospital on Tuesday, and he passed this morning just before 2:30 a.m.
Certainly a sad story, but Chief Armstrong points out that not only is this the first death that may be associated with the flood, it's actually the first injury. And Byron, it's important to note that this is not a public area that this took place in. This is a residential area, and no barriers are set up to keep people out of the water.
I know a sad story to report. Thanks for that, Roy. Sure. Well, you know, there's been a lot of talk about the damage that this flood waters have caused so far and whether there will be any federal help. And today, U.S. Congressman Benny Thompson and two USDA undersecretaries, they flew over much of the flooded waters of flood farms in the area in central Mississippi. And about 200,000 acres of crops have been destroyed during this mighty Mississippi flood. And they are making their initial assessment of the damage to farmlands and other businesses in the area.
When you look at the losses from the traffic on the Mississippi River, if you look at the losses from the homes, if you look at losses from infrastructure, some of these things we won't be able to determine until the water does recede.
Now, Congressman Benny Thompson and the undersecretaries, they also plan to fly up to Tunica to talk to farmers there one-on-one and also to assess the damage there to give us more information on what the problems are of the northern part of the state. Linda?
Yeah, we're talking about farmers losing their livelihood, and then, of course, that could affect us down the road, Byron, with all kinds of supplies and crops that we want to buy in the future. All right, we'll be checking with you a little bit later on. Thank you for that report. Well, free tetanus shots are now available to Mississippians who live in one of 14 counties impacted by the floods. The health department is offering the free vaccines to residents in counties that have been declared federal disaster areas. Although the shots are limited to these specific residents, they can get the shots at any health department clinic statewide. Some of the counties in our area that are covered are Adams, Claiborne, Humphreys, Issaquena, Jefferson, Sharkey, Warren, and Yazoo. If you'd like the complete list of counties that are covered for these free tetanus shots, go to our website and type in the keyword flood. The Army Corps of Engineers says the Yazoo backwater levee is holding up as projected. Dozens of homes and roads are flooded there, but the Corps maintains the levee is strong enough to hold back these waters that are still very powerful. News Channel 12's Ross Adams joins us live from Yazoo County tonight with more on the status of the levee system there. Ross?
You know, Linda, there has been an intense laser-like focus on that 4-mile section of the backwater levee in the last couple of days, actually last couple of weeks. If we could take a look at some of this video, the plastic polyurethane that the experts placed over that section, they were worried about it overtopping and possibly breaching. Authorities say that they will be closely watching the levee, even though it is now the river has crested. It is under an enormous amount of pressure. They do believe it's going to hold. They will be worried and watching out for any issues with dams and floodways near the levee. And they say this is just the beginning of the end of a very long process. Here's what a top official with the Corps had to say.
Some of the tremendous damages that are happening to the system right now, from underseepage, from boils, from slides, and we have a 250-foot slide in this area. We must remain vigilant to these major damages that are happening, and remind folks that this is a marathon, not a sprint. This is not going to be over anytime soon.
And, of course, the backwater levee is designed to be overtopped, but it looks like it won't be put to the test in this historic flood. Reporting live from Yazoo County, Ross Adams, WJTV, News Channel 12.
All right, Ross, authorities telling all of us to be patient. Thanks for that update. Well, do you have any questions about flooding, how they affect you or your neighbors or those impacted? We are working to get you answers here at News Channel 12. Take a look at Studio B at News Channel 12, where volunteers are taking your calls until 7 o'clock tonight. If you have a question, give us a call at 601-969-4612. That's 969-GO-12. And if you want to help, you're invited to take part in a Caring for Mississippi project. News Channel 12 has teamed up with the Salvation Army for 3 ways to give. You can take donations you've collected, items to the Walmart in Vicksburg, Pearl, or Jackson. We're talking about clothing, personal hygiene products, cleaning supplies, baby formula, anything you can think of that a flood victim would need. You can also make a cash donation at any Trustmark bank branch. And the third way to give, you can text the word GIVE to this phone number, 769-230-3270. That's 969-230-3270. One local business is hosting a fundraising bake sale for flood victims. Sweet Babies Cupcakes is in the Vicksburg Mall. The bake sale is coming up this Saturday from noon until 4. And it's not too late to sign up for our daily flood newsletter. A new edition comes out every afternoon. We're sending it out every afternoon at 1 o'clock, posting the latest information for you. Now, we'll send it directly to your email address so that you can pull it up on your computer or on your smartphone so you can find it anytime, any place. To sign up, go to our website, WJTV.com, and type in the keyword flood. And our flooding coverage continues tonight at 6:30 with another special report on the mighty Mississippi flood. We're going to be talking with the owner of a Vicksburg business who is glad to see the floods now taking a turn in another direction. Hopefully those waters will start receding. Also live from Yazoo County, where several businesses and agencies are working to keep their heads above flood waters. And we'll report from Natchez, where the high waters are causing a sewage problem there. Those stories and more coming up tonight at 6:30 in our special report, The Mighty Mississippi Flood.
Here's your Storm Team 12 Vipercast.
All right, let's take a look at the forecast now for this evening. It's going to be nice and quiet, certainly on the warm side as it was today. At 7 o'clock, we'll be at 82. Temperatures falling off not quite as rapidly as the past couple of mornings. 68 by midnight. A few high clouds streaming from the west first thing in the morning. 63 degrees. This weekend, it's all about the heat. And now some humidity in the mix. We'll talk about it. Full 2012 forecast up in 4 minutes.
Thanks, Tony. Interstate 20 is now clear following a traffic backup that was delayed for hours because of a crash there. 3 vehicles were damaged when a white Buick Century ran into a maroon Ford Explorer, ran it off the road. Police say the Buick lost control and veered into another lane where it was rear-ended by an 18-wheeler. The driver of the Buick was hurt. We're told, though, the injuries are not life-threatening. He is listed in stable condition. Byron police are investigating a woman's claim of racial bullying. She claims it happened at the Swinging Bridge RV Resort off Frontage Road there in Byram. Kimberly Tardy contacted us saying that she was looking for a church in the area when she made a wrong turn into the RV camp last night. She says her GPS gave her wrong information. At the time, she says, a manager there went after her, repeatedly calling her the N-word while chasing her off the property in a golf cart.
I felt violated. I mean, I had my infant son in the car. When I got out my door, he was still there yelling, saying obscenities, words.
The allegations are that he crossed the line when he tried to intimidate her. And if that's the case, then we will move forward and see what kind of legal avenues that we have.
Police tell us they plan to beef up presence in that area for right now to learn more. Mississippi lawmakers are asking Governor Barbour to call a special session so they can resolve the unresolved redistricting issue. The request was filed by both members of the House and the Senate. The plan ended up in court this year because lawmakers couldn't agree on a redistricting plan to draw out new maps to match the population shifts that turned up in the 2010 census. A federal judge panel overseeing the redistricting case ruled that the elections this year need to be held in the current districts, which were drawn almost a decade ago.